So we are working on breaking energetic cords with Archangel Michael. Hey, you guys, this is Ashley H.A. Williams with Fueling the Flame podcast, the sector of FD1111 Ministries. Like I was saying, we are working with Archangel Michael to break these strongholds, energetic cords that are attached to our emotional as well as energetic bodies. If you have not, as of yet, checked out the video that I posted the other day about cord cutting, I suggest that you go check that out first before listening to this video / podcast. So Archangel Michael is associated with both the sun and the first sun, which is known as Saturn. And Saturn is the planet of strongholds at times. I would say it seems like it's strongholds, but really what it's doing is breaking those strongholds, but through physical effort. It's a planet of higher knowledge, higher wisdom, and planet of evolution. It's also the first sun, like I was saying. So it's technically a star that has sort of chilled out, if you will. You can find this theology in ancient cultures where they talk about the black sun. And our current sun receives information from the black sun. And so if you have not checked out the video as well about Let There Be Light, this was a Twin Flame Starseed Bible study in which the Spirit was talking about dark matter. And we were in Genesis. And so part of the dark matter, it predates what they would call light. It's a spectrum of light as well. But it programs, it's a programmer. And it is the void, but it also programs. And so when you have the programming and then you have the information, which will be regular energy, it predates, what we know as energy. And so therefore it's the material, it's the information that came before. And with that being said, with Saturn and with this dark energy, we're talking about programmable information that receives information and gives information at a higher magnitude and a higher frequency. So if you want to bring in higher wisdom and higher knowledge, I recommend you working with Saturn and the Archangel Michael archetype. And continuing on with Archangel Michael is also associated with the Christ, also known as Jesus, and some beliefs. And when you go through the biblical text, you can sort of see how that makes sense. They say that Archangel Michael sits on the right hand of God, aka the All. And they also said that after the Christ, dwelled here 33 years, went to the cross, had the ego death, went into the underworld for 3 days, activated faith, and arose, was on the earth for 40 days. All these numbers have meanings to them, which will be broken down, not right now, but I'm giving you a little bit of history about Archangel Michael and how powerful he is. And so with the ascension, when the Christ ascended, that the biblical text says that he went to the right hand of the Father and intercedes for us. And so there's other instances where the Christ, aka Jesus, is synonymous with Archangel Michael. And so when we're working with Archangel Michael, we're working with the Christos energy. We're also working with the Melchizedek, the high priest energy, okay? Which could also be synonymous with the high priestess type of energy. With that being said, let's move forward. I had to lay that foreground so you can understand how important this Archangel archetype is and how powerful, and how to even understand it when you see the symbolism throughout different texts. Okay, so when we're working with the Archangel Michael energy, when we're cutting the energetic bonds, we want to use the color blue. His sword of justice and truth, of righteousness. We are taking that sword that's associated with the color blue, and we're cutting those strongholds, those strong ties that hold us back. And this is talking about more so in the mental space. Everything is mental. All right, if we're cutting those strongholds within our mental space, then we have total freedom. And when you're working with Archangel Michael, as far as for protection, you want to use the color red, so like a red candle, if you will, and focusing on the color red for protection. So I would say if you want to, after you break the strongholds, working with the color blue, maybe blue candle, that you would follow up with a red candle. Not burning them at the same time, but burning them 2 separate times. And you can use the small candles. You can use like those little dollar candles that you can get from the dollar store. And if you want to go into deeper, you know, if it's a situation that's a little heavier, then you can get the 7-day candles, those big tall candles. I like to use sigils, and so I have a sigil for Saturn. You can find that link down below, and you just Google like a simple sigil for Archangel Michael, and you can draw it on a piece of paper. And what the purpose of a sigil is to program recesses in your mind, the part of the mind that cannot be accessed with the conscious mind, okay, the suppressed conscious mind. And this is the purpose of all of this, really, you know, working with the sigils. And so when you see the sigil, it's programming that part of your mind. When you're working with the fire of the flames with these different candles in these different colors, you're activating that energy. You're working with that energy synonymous with the angel, the archetype, okay? Some of the spices that I recommend using, so you can ingest these. You can use them in teas, in broths. You can use them while burning these as you will burn incense or resins with the spice of cinnamon, rosemary. Rosemary is like a protectant. Cinnamon is also a protectant, but it's also a magnifier. And Archangel Michael, he identifies with fire. I hear fire and water. Water being with the emotional aspect of whatever the situation may be, because everything has like an emotional pull to it, which is emotion, energy, emotion. But with the fire aspect, that passion, that zeal, and that protectant aspect. So working with cinnamon, you can Google recipes if you want to cook with cinnamon, if you want to create incense and stuff like that with cinnamon and rosemary. Also hear sesame seeds as well, and raisins. For some reason, I'm not really sure why I take that back. I do know now. Thank you, Spirit. See, some of this is channel information. I just am an open portal when I go into the Spirit to share information, just as a keynote, you know, a little side note there. But anyways, with this raisins come from grapes, and grapes come from the vine, divine. And so the Christ is also associated with wine and with the vine. If you go through the New Testament, you can see the similation between the vine, grapes, and he is also considered to be the vineyard and the wine press because of the sacrifice. And Archangel Michael can be a disciplinary, and with sacrifice, this is part of discipline as well. So this is the reason why I know, and now I know why the Spirit was saying raisins. You can also do, you know, with wine too as well. Okay, continuing on though. Clear space. Also, you can burn rosemary, frankincense, and myrrh to clear your space. This space I'm referring to is where you're going to have like a little mini altar. If you're doing a traveling altar, you can just use birthday candles and take birthday candles, put it inside of a bowl or put it on a flat surface. You know, write down the energetic blockages that you're having, that you want to cut ties with, and that you want to seal. The protectant is like a sealer. That protectant, like with the red candles, like to seal it, to protect it, protect you from future situations and energies with that. And having the clear mind. The red is also about having a clear mind when those situations may try to arise back into your life, because you will be tested. Again, this is the thing too about when you're working with energy, when you're working with manifestation, when you're working with clearing energy blockages, etc. You will be tested again with the same type of energy, the same type of situations. Okay, it may be a different face, a different person, a different technical situation, but it will carry the same energy because you will be tested again. So with that red candle, it also represents having a clear mind, being able to see clearly through the situation. So after you clear your space and you anoint your candles or dress your candles, you can Google how to do that if you want to go that far. Taking your sigil, creating your sigil, and programming your sigil is just taking you can do it the complete. I'm gonna give you the complete way of how I do it. You take your oil that you have anointed your candles with. This could be dragon blood, olive oil even. Olive oil is very powerful. You can find that throughout the biblical text as well. And you can take and anoint your candles, anoint yourself as well. And you can take your sigil, and you want to first clap your hands 3 times together, 3 to 7 times, because you want to make your hands really warm and to wake the energy up in your hands. Rub them together, and then you place it on your sigil in between your hands. You want to rub the oil into the sigil, because this is helping to get your energy into that sigil. The same thing with your candles as well. And then you take your sigil, you ask Archangel Michael, to step in, and you stare at your sigil until your eyes go blurry, and then you come back to. You set your sigil there in front of your candles, and your petition that you've already written, or either the things that you're requesting to have removed, those energetic blockages that you want to have removed, and you set it there. You watch your candles burn. So if you were doing just birthday candles or the small little candles, the longer that you can sit there and watch that flame burn out. So you want to do the blue candle first. The longer that you can sit there and watch the candle burn out, the more powerful and the more that you have invoked the energy, and that you have broke those strongholds. For the 7-day candles, I would say sit there for as long as possible. You can let those candles burn. Of course, don't leave them completely unattended. You want to be somewhere in the space so you can make sure that they don't burn, start to catch fire or whatever. But, come back to it every so often and stare at the fire. After you do the blue candle, then you would do the red candle to protect what you have done already. If you were doing the 7-day candle and you were doing it for 7 days, you would burn the blue candle for a certain amount of time, come back, and then burn the red candle for a certain amount of time. And you would do this for 7 days if you're using the 7-day candle. And when you are burning your candles, you want to stare at the flame. You want to focus on what you are releasing. You want to get your energy, aka your emotions, up, because this is all going to help build that energy, help invoke that type of energy, that type of, if you want to call it spirit, angel, archetype, whatever, that type of energy within yourself. After you have finished, you can discard of your materials. So some people want to burn them. Some people take their candle wax and reuse it. They put it inside of like a bin, and then they reuse their candle wax, because they make candles. If you want to, you can bury them. You can also put it into the water, but really honest, you can just put it inside of a bag and then tie it up and just discard it if you really wanted to do it like that. With your petition, you can burn it after you are finished. You can burn it over the candle, or you can just burn it all together inside of a pot, and then sprinkle the ashes out over greenery, because I like to give it back to the earth. As far as with the ashes, ashes also help things grow as well. You can sprinkle it into water if you want. You can blow it into the wind, or wherever it lands is wherever it lands. That's the way how you can work with that energy. The days that Archangel represents is Sunday, being that he's associated with the sun, during the times of 1 p.m. and 8 p.m. However, I also have mentioned that he is associated with Saturn. So Saturn at 7 p.m. is the best time if you're going to work with him on Saturday, if you want to invoke more so wisdom, more so that higher aspects of your consciousness. You could do both if you want it as well. Some stones, hematite, black onyx, sunstone, sandstone, and quartz is also good too, like a smoky quartz. Those are all good, especially with the dark crystals. Like the black crystals are really good, because remember how I was saying, if you're going to use them, this archetype, to access higher wisdom, then I would suggest using like the hematite, the black onyx, you know, those darker types of crystals, for the work with those crystals. Your sigil, you can have like a little mini sigil that you can keep in your wallet. I keep actually, you know, in my car on the dashboard, you know, where you have like the meters and stuff. I have like a little place that I like to put little notes if I'm trying to remember something, as far as recite something. You could put like your little sigil right there, because you know you're going to look down at that all the time. And even if you're not studying it, like staring at it, just the subliminal message of just glancing at it is going to do a lot for you. You can have little sigils throughout your house, little mementos that will remind you of that ritual. So being that you have that candle wax, you could take the candle wax and you could have that lump of candle wax like on a stand if you want to, with the blue and the red. If you want, you know, there's different, what I'm getting at is pretty much just different things that will subliminally remind you of the work that you put in and that energy that you created while you were doing your energy work, aka ritual with Archangel Michael, and the things that you let go and that you're bringing into your life. This is what I'm saying. So whatever will remind you of what you did with your ritual. It could be the candle wax, it could be the crystals, it could be even if you have a little statue or a picture of what they say he looks like. You could just have a sun, like a sun emblem. You could have the Saturn emblem or sigil, anything like that that will continue to remind you until you have really honestly felt like you have broken free from that type of energy. Then I would still keep it around. Like how I was mentioning before about when you have put some type of request into the ethers. I actually just posted a video going over manifestation technique, and you know how you know that the universe, aka the all God, has received your request and how it's being put into motion. I have that video over on Patreon. But you know that you're going to be tested when you have done some type of ritual, energy work, or made up your mind about something. So with that being said, that when you know that you're being tested, still having that sigil around, still having those crystals around is going to aid you throughout these traverse situations, okay? Until eventually what will happen is that you have invoked that type of energy within yourself so much to the point that when you are tested, or a test that is associated with what you were letting go arises, that you feel like you have overcome it. Like you really feel like you have that Archangel Michael energy within you that you can just slay the situation. Then I would still say keep those sigils, you know, handy, those crystals handy, even working with them day in and day out. So if you like this video and the other material that we have over here on this channel, please consider hitting the subscribe button as well as the notification button so you can receive notifications when we go live, as well as post new information. If you have any requests, leave those comments down below. Like, share, comment. All of the comments and likes and shares are very much appreciated. It also helps us with our analytics to reach more divine individuals. If you're interested in joining our Patreon family, the Sacred Guild of 𝗗𝒚, 𝗗𝒚 means souls of fire. That link will be down below. Free monthly energy readings, other information over there. Shouts out to them. If you're interested in personal services, that link is also down below. We offer personal readings. Once again, this is Ashley H.A. Williams for Fueling the Flame podcast. You can also check out our website at www.fd11-11ministries.org.